Okay, so this is the Chapter 5 quiz, using it after 5.3. For 1 and 2, it says write the ratio as a fraction in simplest form. So it's the first thing over the second thing, simplified. The first thing over the second thing, simplified. If they're not simplified, they'll be wrong. Here, for 3 and 4, it says use the ratio table to find the unit rate with specified units. So on this first one, you can't use 0 gallons and 0 miles or 0 miles per 0 gallons. That doesn't help you at all. You can use any of these. Remember, it's miles per gallon. So you'll put the miles on top. Even though they're listed on the bottom of the table, you'll put them on top, and you'll put the gallons on the bottom. But then you do have to simplify it to a unit rate, which means the 1 in the denominator. So put the miles over the gallons and simplify it so you have a 1 in the denominator. You can choose any of these 3 to do that too, because all of them will give you the same unit rate. Same thing over here. Remember, it's cost per box. So the cost goes on top, the box goes on the bottom, and you simplify till it's a unit rate, meaning you have a 1 in the denominator. You can choose any 3 of these, and if you take it to its unit rate, they'll all be the same unit rate because they're proportional. Tell whether the ratios form a proportion. I would use just cross products. Bing, bing. If they equal each other, yes, it's a proportion. And if they don't equal each other, no, it's not a proportion. Same thing here. Bing, bing, cross products. You might look here and say, well, if I multiply the top by 3, if I multiply the bottom by 3, whatever. You could try to turn one fraction into the other fraction and see if that works. You could simplify them and see if they simplify to the same. But why not just use cross products? Come on. It's easy. Come on, man. Number 7 and 8. Tell whether the 2 rates form a proportion. So here's 25 cars in 5 days. You'll have to write that as a rate. 60 cars in 12 days, write it as a rate. And then maybe use cross products to see if they are proportional or equal to each other. Same thing here. You'll have to write 14 books in 2 boxes as a ratio, 20 books in 3 boxes as a ratio, and then use cross products to see if those 2 ratios are equal. It's a yes or no question. For 9 and 10, use the table to write a proportion. You don't solve the proportion, you're just going to write a proportion. And for the answer on the multiple choice quiz, I am going to just put the answer that is like 12 over 3 equals 16 over P. Okay, just as is in here. Okay, so dollars per pounds equals dollars per pounds. Over here, emails per hours equals emails per hours. All right, so should be pretty obvious. I mean, basically, you're just putting a line here with an equal sign and you're done. Putting a line here with an equal sign and you're done. So that's 9 and 10. Going to 11, solve the proportion. Show your work. So you could do it 2 ways here. You could do cross products. 10 times 4 is 40. 5 times what is 40? That's what x has to equal. Or you could say, well, I multiplied by 2 on the bottom, going to the left here. So I multiply by 2 on the top. Here, I multiplied by 9, so I multiply by 9. Or you could do cross products. Your choice. Solve for the unknown. In an animal shelter, the ratio of dogs to cats is 5 to 3. There are 25 dogs. So we know it's dogs to cats. So I would write dogs per cats, just like that. We know it's 5 to 3. That means 5 dogs to 3 cats. And we know there's 25 dogs. Well, I can't write the rest, or I'm actually writing the proportion. But we put dogs on the top. So this is dogs on the top. This is cats on the bottom. So this is cats on the bottom. Dogs goes on top. A variable C will go on the bottom. So that's your proportion. Then you solve to find what C would be. That's pretty easy. And then finally, on this last one, it says, use a graph to tell whether X and Y are in a proportional relationship. So we have to tell, is this graph, or is this table here, are X and Y proportional? This graph works very well. You could print out a piece of graph paper, graph this. However, there is no math police coming around. So what you could do is you could just simplify all these, see if they simplify to the same thing. You could do cross products across the whole table, see if those equal the same thing. But if you want, you could graph them. Remember, if it goes through the origin, then yes, it's proportional. And if it doesn't go through the origin, then no, it's not proportional. This will be worth an extra credit point on this quiz. And it doesn't show up as extra credit on the Google Classroom grade, but it does in the PowerSchool where it actually counts. Awesome. I know you'll do very well on this. Take your time, do your best, and have an awesome evening.